We're also focusing on the yin and yang theory, so I'd like to just spend a second or two and use this as a quick overview. So we look at the 5 phases of yin and yang, which I think are very, very important to understand. Last week I went into some detail, I think, about the structure, how the meridians going from yang to yin, and how we can go from collaterals to primaries to the mu and shu points, and then into the 8 vessels. Is that correct? And it was riveting. So let's, however, understanding that energy must be balanced in form. So we talked about the chi realm, and now we're going to talk about yin and yang, and then the different expressions of form. So the yin and yang piece, I think, is the hardest piece for us because as a species, we're really lazy. And so we want it to be right or wrong, black or white. And if you really want to control people, that's what you want to make sure they do. You want to make sure they stay in the first realm of opposition. It's the easiest way to manipulate and control. It's the most unhealthy, immature state of consciousness to be in. However, it's necessary. Because that's the initial spark or polarity required for all of existence. So it's a necessary evil, opposition. So, everything is either black or white, up or down, smart or dumb, right or wrong. And so you can tell the level of consciousness that the individual or the company or the family or the culture or the country or the planet really is based on how entrenched they are in opposition. Now, as a nation, we are in an extreme state of opposition. And that's all done by design in an effort to create change. Okay? Because there's also a necessary evolution that really has to happen based on what's going on with the consciousness, the collective consciousness. So we're watching kind of like the painful removing of the snake's skin or the removing of the lobster shell, And so whenever you go into change, there's always that moment of critical mass that has to happen. To make breakfast, you must break an egg or whatever. You get it? And so it's just the way it is. It's very painful. And we happen to be at the edge of that, the precipice of great change. And as a culture, yes, as a country, sure, but even as a planet, but even as a species. Because our evolution, our consciousness is evolving exponentially. If you want to talk about the evolution of human consciousness, from here, to where we are was kind of like that, if that's your line. Yeah? Yeah, well, that was like up until the turn of the century. And now, within the last 100 years, it's like this. So all of our recorded reality, and then in the last 100 years, and it's going to go way more than that. So if you just think about how much has your life changed since you were 18. I mean, if you really think about transportation, if you think about communication, if you think about pretty much anything, technology, food, right? You were all very rich, right? So you were all raised on all organics. No, you didn't have to be rich. You couldn't find something that wasn't organic, right? So it's like every grocery store was organic. They were all whole foods. Yeah, you had real food. But then we kept multiplying. You would say, well, those son of a bitches. Yeah, but has anybody tried to grow a garden? You fight with those little critters. So I can understand you have all these starving people, or you have these, nations or these corporations that have shareholders. You can't lose a crop. So you're going to, of course, be cunning, and you're going to Monsanto it. I get it. And so in some ways you can say, oh, these corrupt son of a bitches. Yeah, but we feed more people than we ever had. So we're feeding more people than we ever had with poison. But you have a choice. Would you rather not be alive, or rather at least live with some poison? You got a choice. Would you rather have all your children starve now, or at least, well, they're going to go, but they're going to be a little bloated and have a little bit of irritable bowel, better than dead, right? So you'd rather be dead?
No.
Okay, but you can't grow that level of food without it. Do I think it's disgusting and wrong? Totally. Do I think there should be as many of us? I'm an anti-human guy. Sorry, I'm not loyal to the species. I've studied and trained human beings my whole life, and I'm not impressed. And so, you know, if we're going to have a conversation, you can have a conversation with the whole group. Hello?